And welcome back to the Flow Sports Fix on this Monday evening. We've still got that chat with Cole Pearce, the young Paralympian, coming for you this hour. Courtney's on the way with her Sports Express. We'll get an AFL wrap with the stat man. But right now it's the Flowman having a look at some local football that played right across the Flow region over the weekend, starting with the southern part of SA.
Bordertown 17-11 beat Lucindale 13-7. That is a big win for the Roosters and keeps them in touch with that top five. Lucindale, well, they're in a bit of a freefall right now. And Mandala 23-19, 157 put the pain of their previous week loss to Kingston behind them by thrashing Border Districts, who kicked 4-3-27. It was a margin of 130 points in favour of the Moots. Kingston 13-20-98 beat Kaibi Bowline 6-11-47, and gee, they continue to play great football, these Kingston Saints, and they've got a good side together this year too. There is no doubt about that. They are going to be a formidable force right through this season. So will be Keith 15-15, 105 to Narracourt 6-8-44. If you don't mind, the Keith Crows were coming into this match with some saying that Narracourt were the favourite, but the Crows with Simmons booting 7, they showed the way, and in the battle of the big forwards, he outplayed at his end to kick the goals, where Taggart kicking just 3 at the other end for Narracourt. While Padthaway 13-14-92 to Penola 8-8-57. And if you don't mind about forwards, Tobin Cox has kicked 9 goals out of 13. This is a very good performance, but on top of the fact, in 4 matches he's kicked 27 goals already this season, and a star for the Padthaway Lions. Well, we take a look now at the mid-southeastern football results from the weekend. Kalangadoo thrashed Nangwarry. Hatherley 17-21 over Glencoe 3-6. The Robe Roosters 11-19-85 over Congarong 8-9-57. And big win to Port MacDonald over Tantanoola. In the reserve grade, the Robe Roosters were able to get up and beat their adversaries Congarong, and they did it by kicking 9-4-58 to 7-11-53 in a thrilling game of football. Kicking straight is good footy, as they say, and the good footy when they won the Senior Colts was a closey too. It was 3-6-24 to 3-4-22, and down at Congarong on their deck, it was a fabulous performance. But was it to be in the Junior Colts? The boys from Congarong, the Hawks, won that one 8-7-55 to Robe 1-4-10. So the young Rooster boys not able to get home in that game. Now, finally, in Mallee football and in the coverage game on Mallee Football TV, where Jace Regan formed a part of that commentary team, was BDT, who kicked a good score again and got over the line by beating Murrayville 16-7, 103 to 6-5-41. And for BDT, a bit of a stabiliser after some wobbly games this year. Lamoureux 5-17-47, not good enough kicking like that when the opposition Pinaroo kicked 15-8, 98 in the battle of these two traditional rivals. The other match had Karoonda their first win of the season, 7-14-56, beating Peak 5-7-37, and that was between two sides down the bottom of the ladder, and when you're down the bottom of the ladder you want to get that one win on the board, and Peak now are on the bottom of the ladder after 4 rounds without a win this season. Top of the table Pinaroo have won all 4 games. Tell you what, this is going to be a big weekend this weekend of country football across the south of the state, whether you're in the Mallee, the KNT or the mid-southeast.
And as we have learnt in recent weeks, saying it's going to be a big weekend in local football sometimes is a bit of an understatement, because every week seems at the moment to be a big weekend in local football. Isn't that right, Flowman? Yes, he's nodding away. Right now, let's go over to Sunraysia, and well, bit sad for the Kangas, eh?
It was another sad day for the United Kangas. They've got monstered by South Mildura 21-12, 138 to 8-10-58, and gee, the United Kangas now don't look like they will be making finals unless something drastically turns around in the next week for their season. In the reserve grade, it was a tough outing too, because South Mildura have certainly come up with a massively strong side. They won 14-6 to 6-7, while in the 18-year-old age group, it was a very good performance from the United Kangas. They really threw everything at South Mildura, 6-5-41, but South did win at 10-9-69, and it was a particularly difficult afternoon for the boys from from the Own United Kangas. They weren't able to get a win over that particular day, but they did have some very, very small success in the under-14s where the lads came out and played hard. Lost 3-2-20, but the South Mildura boys 18-6, 114 in that age group. And over now to Victoria and North Central football. And for the Milne family, it was a day to remember when they honoured their son Ben as the Birchip Watcham Football Club and the nearby Donald Football Club played out a match to give the family some level of closure after they weren't able to really have a funeral service for him during the COVID crisis. And it really was a heartfelt day, one that Graham Milne, who's a councillor at the Bull Oak Shire and a friend of Flow FM, wrote to me this morning to say just how they were treated like royalty and how much it lifted their spirits. So that's what country football can do, and it was particularly a poignant moment. It was the Birchip Watcham Bulls who got home and beat Donald 10-9, 69-5, 13-43. And then other senior matches, it was Sea Lake Nandali 24-19, thrashing Sonata 2-5, while it was a big win for Wedderburn 13-12 to Witcherproof Narraport 4-12. Gee, in a bit of bother these right now. And Charlton 12-7-79 beat Bort 8-12-60. When Charlton's backs are to the wall, you can guarantee you that they'll come out from a win, the Navy Blues. And for those that wanted to know, for Ben Milne's reserve grade, where he was a very important part of the Birchip Watcham Bulls, they beat Donald 11-7-73 to 6-7-43, and that Guard of Honour was put together there at the conclusion of that reserve grade game. Let's now move to Hume football, and in not too similar circumstances, the Hume Football League match that was played at Oaklands between the Billabong Crows and Ramwell Waller honoured Jeremy Martin Heath, a young man that was synonymous with the Billabong Crows footy side, and a big crowd turned up at Oaklands, and was terrific that the nearby Ramwell Waller club participated in the commemorative Guard of Honour, which was given by both clubs, and at the conclusion of the reserve grade game. Wasn't to be for the Billabong Crows in terms of the result. They tried real hard, but it was the more experienced Ramwell Waller 13-12-90, beating the Billabong Crows 8-5-53 in the Jezza Cup. It became a big win for how long? They upset Brock Burham 17-12 to 5-12, and where to now for the Saints have had just the one win of the season from the first 5 games. Osborne have had 5 wins from the season, beating the Holbrook side 16-8 to 8-5. That is a big win, nearly doubled their score, and they were considered the 2 top sides in the comp. So Osborne are well and truly the streets ahead right now. Lockhart to beat Henty in a rivals match 18-13 to 13-7, and a big win for Lockhart. They're certainly showing something now, and Henty, they'll be disappointed with losing on their home deck. And CDHBU remain undefeated with the Osborne Tigers at the top of the table, 13-9-87, beating Culcan 5-14-44. And for those in the Billabong Crows Township, the Oaklands and Urana areas, they did lose their reserve grade to Ramwell Waller 17-7 to 6-4, but they did honour Jezza and the folk at Ramwell Waller, where at Walla Walla at St Paul's, Jezza went to school. They've got the cup, the inaugural cup between these two sides. It was a big weekend.
And there'll be another one this weekend for sure. The Flowman and the Statman giving us all the details of this weekend coming up later in the week on the Flow Sports Show. And speaking of the Statman, he's coming up next, having a look at the AFL results over the weekend.